Okay, today's video is going to be about blowback operated versus recoil operated semi-automatic pistols, and I'll show you the differences between them. Now, I picked these two right off the bat because they're both Beretta pistols. This is actually a copy of a Beretta, but this is an 84 BB and this is a copy of a model 1951 M1951. So on a blowback operated pistol, you have the barrel and you have the slide, and when you fire the weapon, obviously the bullet's going to travel through the barrel and exit, and then you get that flash, from the combustion, because essentially when you're firing a weapon, you're doing a controlled explosion. So when that explosion takes place, there's no place for that force to go except to force the bullet out of the barrel, and that's how firearms work. Now, what happens with the smaller calibers like .3, and this is not 100% the case, but for the most part, .380 pistols and lower calibers are blowback operated, and then 9mm and up are recoil operated, and I'll show you why. So the .380 is typically a lesser, the cartridge is not as powerful as a 9mm. So what happens is when you fire the weapon, the force of the blast forces the slide to slide backwards, and you see how the barrel doesn't move. So the slide slides backwards. Well, if it opens too soon, and I'm trying to do this one-handed here, apologize, but if it opens too soon, you're gonna get fire, the part of the flash coming out here. So it's gotta, the bullet has to exit the barrel before this opens here. So on the underpowered cartridges, they're typically blowback operated. Now on a recoil operated pistol like this pistol, let me get the magazine out so I can operate this easier. So on a recoil operated pistol, you can see that the barrel and the slide together as a unit, and you can see it in the front as well. So they slide together as a unit, then at some point the barrel's going to stop and the slide will continue on rearward, and you see it there too. They go back together as a unit, then they separate. And typically 9mm on up are going to be recoil operated. Again, this is recoil operated because the barrel is going back with the slide a short distance. And the reason for that is because the 9mm cartridge is a little bit more powerful than 380, so that gives the bullet, as the cartridge is fired, the bullet is traveling out the barrel. You want it to exit that barrel before this opens, so this recoil operation gives that bullet a chance to exit the barrel. So once the bullet's traveling down, imagine when you fire, bullet's traveling down, and at the same time this barrel's moving backwards with the slide. And then it gets to a certain point where once it opens, you can see that it's open there now. Once it opens, by the time it opens, the bullet has already exited the barrel most likely, and then you won't get that big flash right there in front of your face. Instead, it goes out of the barrel, towards what you're shooting at. So that's essentially the difference between recoil and blowback operated pistols. Now I'm just going to take these apart so you can see how they work. And so I'm going to try to make this a quick video because I shot this video earlier and it was over 30 minutes long, so I guess I tend to get long-winded. So on this one, and it's hard to do when you're trying to put it together how it's not meant to be put together. So you have the barrel is locked to the frame on this. This is a Beretta 84 BB. Beretta 84 BB. Barrel is locked to the frame. Again, blowback operated. Oh, and let me just show you this really quick. So this is and I'm only going to show you this on one pistol. I'm not going to do it for all of them. So this is with the magazine installed. These are dummy rounds, by the way. But anyway, it can't fire. It doesn't have a firing pin or anything. But so as the weapon is fired, the slide slides back, it ejects the cartridge, then as it comes back, it strips a new cartridge off the magazine, and it'll push it in and chamber it into the round there, chamber it into the barrel. I'm sorry. So anyway, that's a Beretta 84 BB. I'll get another one. This is a Phoenix Arms HP 22A. So this is a 22 long rifle pistol. Now this is kind of a tricky one. Let me get the magazine. Oh, I already removed the magazine. So as I start moving this back, I'm gonna grab this. And sorry, this is just it's a little bit tricky to do, and I'm trying to keep it in the viewfinder, so I'm trying to do two things at once. Okay, so now I can get that out. So this one works slightly differently. It's got a little groove there, right there where my fingernail is. It's got a groove there in the barrel, underneath the barrel, and here in the slide and the frame, I'm sorry, it's got a little bar there. So this will go into that bar and it locks in place, and that barrel is not going to move. And I'll go ahead and reassemble this one just because it's a little bit tricky, but you have to keep that spring compressed. So when this locks into place there, you can see that the barrel's not moving at all. And again, this is a 22 long rifle, very underpowered cartridge, so that again, it doesn't require that travel back with the barrel and slide together. This is another Beretta. This is a Beretta model 1934. This is 380 caliber. So there you see again that the barrel doesn't move and the slide goes back. And I'll show you how this one works too. Again, these are not disassembly videos per se. They're just to show you how these things work. So the barrel is locked to the frame. It doesn't move. Again, slide's going to go back and forth, and barrel's going to stay in place. So this is a Beretta model 1934, 380 caliber. Again, blowback operated. I know a lot of people like to say llama, but if this pistol is made in Spain and it's got a double L, that's a Y in Spanish, like tortilla is two L's. So this is a Llama 22 long rifle. Again, it's modeled after the 1911 or 1911A1. And so I'm going to take this apart real quick. Again, this is 22 long rifle and blowback operated. I understand that these again, this is the Llama. I understand that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I've seen a video on YouTube where someone has the 380 version of this, and it actually is recoil operated. Sorry, I'm trying to get that barrel bushing out. So I'm going to say the 1911 style pistols have what's called a swinging link. This does not, even though it's a 1911 style, but it's a 22, so it's blowback operated. So it does not have a swinging link, and you'll see that. I'll do that one next so you can see what a swinging link is. Just remember that word, swinging link. So here you got the barrel and the frame, and you see there's just a hole. It's not elongated, it's not oval, it's not a slot, it's just a hole. It matches with this hole. So when I put the slide stop through there, that's going to keep the barrel from moving. So the barrel is attached to the frame now with that pin, and that's not going to go anywhere. Again, the slide goes back and forth. The barrel and frame are attached to each other, and that's how blowback operated pistols work. It's just the power of the cartridge that causes a slide to go rearward and then chamber that new round when it strips it off the magazine. So I said that I talked about the swinging link. So this is a Star Model B. This one has a swinging link, and first I'll show you that this is recoil operated. So remember, on recoil operated, barrel and slide travel back for short distance. You can see that they're traveling backwards together, and then there's that separation there. And you can see that on the end there where they travel backwards together, then there's that separation. So again, it's in its full forward position, then as it's fired, they start going backward together for a short distance, and then it stops. And again, that gives the bullet enough time to exit chamber before this opens. And those, again, slightly more powerful cartridges like the 9mm. There are some 380s that are recoil operated, but not many. This is a Rock Island Armory 1911, and same thing. You know, they're let me cock the hammer back so I can operate that here, so you can see that they travel backward a short distance together, and then they separate. Again, giving the bullet enough time to exit the chamber. And I'll go ahead and take this one apart, because this was the one I said has a swinging link. And I'm doing the Star Model B. Let me get the magazine out. I'm doing the Star Model B, but they're all the same. These Beretta, I mean these 1911 copies. So, and like I said, I made this video before, but it took 30 minutes, and I think I just spent way too much time talking. But so here's the swinging link. Now, what happens is you have the barrel goes. Obviously, the barrel sits there in the frame, and you have the slide stop. Well, this pin goes through. See if I can get that in the camera there. This pin is going to go through, and I'm holding it backwards, but the pin's going to go through there, and then as the weapon is fired, as the barrel goes backward, this swinging link here, you can see it's swinging, hence this name swinging link. So it's sitting there like this. When you fire, it goes backwards, and then it forces it to drop down, and that allows the slide to continue backwards. Now you notice it's got these two, they call them locking lugs. None of the blowback operated pistols have locking lugs, but the recoil operated pistols have locking lugs, and they correspond to the notches there in the slide. So that's what locks into place. I'm not sure if you can see that, but when you can see the notches there. And so when the barrel is going back, right there, it drops into place. So it's dropping in there. So those lugs are locking the barrel and slide together because the round is a little bit more powerful. And so again, they travel backwards a short distance, and then that separation takes place because of that swinging link. So the barrel drops. Let me put it this way so you can kind of see it. So the barrel drops downward and allows the slide to continue backwards, and then as it comes up, the barrel is going to travel upward to engage those lugs. So that's a Star Model B and the Rock Island Armory 1911. Now I have so those are the swinging link, and I do have another pistol with a swinging link. This is a Star Model BM. Also 9mm. This one has a swinging link, but now that you saw those two locking lugs on the top of the barrel and on the inside of the slide, this is the same thing. However, it has one locking lug, and I'm just showing you just because you know. So there's the one locking lug, and there's the swinging link, same as the 1911 style pistols. There's the frame, I mean the slide, and you can see it's got the one notch there. So it's got one locking lug. Again, they're locked together so they can travel together, and then when that swinging link causes it to drop down, it allows the slide to continue on its way backward to extract the round and chamber a new one. So that was a Star Model BM. One more pistol that has a kind of a loop, like not the swinging link, but it works similarly. This is a CZ75. Now you can see the barrel and the slide going back together, and then they separate. And you can see that there as well. They travel back together, and then there's a separation there. So this one is similar to the swinging link, but it's not an actual swinging link. There's no swivel or anything on it. So on this one, it just has a slot. And so the same thing, this pin will go through the slot and kind of sit there like that. And when the weapon is fired, this is going to go backwards, and then let me get that closer to the camera. So it's going to sit there like that. When it's fired, it's going to go backwards and then force it to drop down. And then it's this same thing. It's got two locking lugs. And again, the slide has the two locking lugs there. So you get to see that where it jumps up into that spot there. Now that's a CZ75. And that's a 9mm as well. So far all the recoil operated pistols are 9mm that I have. This is a Ruger LC9. This one has kind of a unique way of taking it down. Again, let me just show you that real quick. So you can see they travel together for a short distance, and then it drops out of place. It drops out of the way there. This one's similar to the CZ75. Let me get this pin out. It's always tricky to get the pin out. There it comes. So that little pin, as you can see, this little pin here is going to go through the hole in the frame, and then it's going to go through this slot here. Now, I will bring the CZ75 barrel because these are similar. So this has a slot with two positions, and you can see that this is very similar except it's open. So it's got, you can see the two places where the pin would go. It would be, it would start out in the lower position, and then as the weapon is fired, as it goes backwards, it's going to force the barrel downward, and it's going to lock into that second position there. So it's similar to the CZ75 barrel, but again, it's just that it's not enclosed. That's just the way Ruger designed it, and but it works. And now this one, again, this has two locking lugs like the 1911s, and then the BM had one locking lug. And I don't want to keep going back and forth because again, I don't want to make this video too long, but just to show you again, one locking lug, two locking lugs, and then this one, this whole beefy area is the lock itself. So that's what locks the barrel and slide together when they slide backwards for that short distance. Again, recoil operated. So the next one, this is a SIG 239, 9mm, and this is also again these are all recoil operated. So you're going to see the barrel and slide go back together for a short distance, and then they separate. See that there. So this one operates with a ramp, and I don't know the exact name of the system, but this has a ramp here, and so that ramp, when it goes backwards, it hits the frame, and then it drops down. And the same thing here, there's no locking lugs. All this beefed up area is the lock itself. So it sits there, and as it goes backwards, this is going to drop down. But again, it's just that this whole beefiness is the actual lock that locks it to the slide. Again, that's a SIG 239. Another ramp is a famous Glock. This is a Glock 17. I hate that you have to fire it to take it apart, but that's just the way they made them. So the Glock 17, same thing that I just showed you as a SIG. It's got the ramp, and it's also got the beefy barrel. And let me just grab that. As you can see, they're very similar. Let me get these in the middle of the viewfinder there. You can see they're very similar. It's just a big beefy piece of metal there, And then the actual ramp, same as the SIG barrel. So again, I'm trying to keep them in the viewfinder there, but so they operate very similar. And that's just going to sit there like that and go back and forth, you know, and it's just a little bit of movement, but that's all it needs to give that bullet enough time to exit the barrel. Again, I keep, can't stress it enough, recoil operated. This is a Browning high power or GP35. This is an FN model, and this is a 9mm. Same thing there. Let me cock it so it's easier to manipulate the slide. So you can see they travel together and then they separate. So this is a design that was John Moses Browning designed this pistol, and I'm not going to go into that too much, but he also designed the 1911. But he had to kind of reinvent this because he couldn't use the other design because he had sold it to Colt. So this one has two locking lugs that match up with the slide there. The locking lugs in the slide. So that's how those lock together. And then this has that same ramp there that engages the frame. So this is going to sit there and it's going to sit there like that. And then when you fire, it's going to go backwards and drop down. And that allows these lugs to drop down enough to let the slide past them. And then I guess that brings me to the Beretta. So I'll just take this one apart real quick. So this is like I said, this is a copy of a Beretta 1951, and I'll see if I can. Sometimes these give me trouble when I try to do this. In my last video, I tried to do this and it gave me some trouble. So because you're not assembling the pistol correctly, you're assembling it like halfway, and it kind of doesn't operate properly like that. Okay, there we go. So this pistol, you can see that it's got this little block here that's going to drop down, and right there it locks into place right there, and that's what keeps the barrel from going backwards any further. So it's traveling backwards, then it gets to that point, it drops down, and the barrel actually has, you can see this pin right here. When you push it, it forces that block down. So this block, it actually locks with you can see the slide here, and there's some notches in there that this barrel, this block here moves. So when it's in place, it's locked together, but then when as the barrel's moving backwards, because this is a Beretta open top design, but you can see that right here, that pin that I showed you where my index finger is moving, as the barrel's sliding backwards, that pin hits, and these little blocks there, they drop out of the way, and that allows the slide to travel backwards. And again, it's kind of hard to show without the pistol assembled, but if it's assembled, then I can't show it to you. So, but that's how that works. You have these blocks that you can see. I'm trying to separate them. I'm not holding the barrel in place. I'm holding onto the barrel and moving it. You can see that the barrel's not moving. But if I let this drop, or if I push this, now the barrel is free to slide. So that's how this is a Beretta, and I think it's just called a locking block. So again, that was a model 1951, and then this is the same thing. This is like the military M9. Although I'm not getting into that too much, but I converted it with a G kit, so when you decock it, it goes back up. So that's just an improvement on the design. But But this one, it's the same thing again. These are a little bit beefier than the Metal 1951, but there's the block. The block stays up, and then when it gets to the rearward position, and I can show you better upside down because gravity is helping me on this in this case. But so when you push this, and again, it's hard to do because the weapon is outside the pistol, but you can see when you push this back, the block gets out of the way. So this block here would engage the slide, and then as you fire, they go backwards a short distance, and then this hits the frame, and then that moves that to allow the slide to separate from the barrel. So it's the same as the previous pistol I just showed you, but that's how those work. Once they're separated, the barrel and frame slide across each other once that block is moved out of the way. But I believe that's the last. Looking over and making sure that I haven't forgotten anything. Yeah, those are all the recoil operated pistols that I have. So that's in essence the difference between recoil operated and blowback operated. Recoil operated for the more powerful pistols, more powerful cartridges, and blowback operated for the weaker cartridges, although there are some exceptions. High Point makes a blowback operated 9mm. I believe their 45 might also be blowback operated, but the difference is the slides are very large, and that's to slow down the slide travel backward to allow the cartridge to exit, to exit the barrel before the slide opens. So you'll notice the High Points have very large slides. But again, that's a much simpler design because you don't have to have swinging links or ramps or any other kind of like that Beretta, like this Beretta, that block system that they use. It's more complicated. So with the blowback operated pistol, barrel is attached to the frame and the slide is free to move back and forth. Again, for underpowered cartridges, and the recoil operated for the more powerful cartridges. If I made mistakes or you have any questions or comments, of course, post them in the video and I'll do my best to answer them. Thanks for watching.